Hey everyone, it's David here from Team Ultra Instinct, bringing you a deck profile on the Caulifla Running Wild Leader. I ran this during a little special event we held for our locals. Obviously, it wasn't in person, it was online, but we did an event called the Tournament of Power, where it was basically only cards that were allowed for the Tournament of Power setting. So this deck list is on a limited card list. Obviously, it can be flexed out into a normal format. Actually, it did surprisingly well for me. The leader overall put in a lot of work. I mean, self-awakening built into a leader is great. But basically, I ran 10Ks as the core of my deck. Caulifla pumps them up by 5K if you choose one card from your life and add it to your hand. She can't pump black cards, but she can pump obviously, all your 10Ks. The one black card in my deck I wasn't playing. It was more so people couldn't play stuff during my turn without some sort of penalty. Um, but Caulifla, on both sides, has the exact same activate main. So choose a card in your life, give 5K to everything on board, including the leader. The Awakening is a draw 2, and then she's a draw 1 leader. I ran 12 10Ks in my deck. I know I got a question about why I was running 12 10Ks. Personally, I was running 12 10Ks because I felt comfortable with that number. It could be lowered down a little bit, but the one drop Worthy Warrior Kefla from Draft Box 5 actually put in a lot of work when searching the top 7 for two 10Ks. She thinned the deck really hard, and seeing that extra, a 4 or 2, whatever, since I run 12 in the deck, I mean, you're almost always going to hit 2. Sometimes you don't, but you'll at least be hitting 1. I felt very comfortable with that number, and I ran 4 of the Kefla because she was just so good whenever I saw her. Flight of the Grand Eagle is the negate I decided to run. Uh, I decided to run this because it's completely free without taking life, and obviously I couldn't run After Image in the tournament, but Flight of the Grand Eagle is legal since that is a Tournament of Power legal card. Um, but it was really good with the 10Ks because you neg them 10K and send them to the drop, and then the next turn you could play them with, say, Universe Force Assemble. But giving 100K for the for the whole battle it's just insane. No one's gonna combo over it. Sometimes, I mean, it depends, but generally no one's gonna combo over it. Universe 4 Assemble is what was putting in a lot of the work. I should consider putting that up to 4, but I played it at 3. I saw it when I needed it, so maybe I just got lucky there. But play two 10Ks from your drop or from your warp, and yeah, it just puts in a lot of work. You get 2 bodies on board for 1 energy, and with your leader, you can make them 15Ks instead of 10Ks. Caulifla, I already explained her, but you can also attack with her. She's not just there to combo or just be a play to filter out your deck. She can also attack once you start pumping. Ideally, what you want to do with the leader is turn 5 if you're at 5 life, or not turn 5, sorry. When you're at 5 life, you choose one card from your life and add it to your hand when you have your board established. Give them all 5K, and then you awaken, then do it again and give them all 5K again. So you have a 25K leader, maybe some 10Ks that are now 20Ks, and then the Kefla herself is actually 15K. So all your battle cards are going to be putting on pressure. You may be wondering why I'm not running Jiren at all in this deck. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I'm not running Jiren. It's because I just felt like there wasn't enough 10Ks in the deck to do so. Obviously, you can try to do that with like regular super combos, because you notice this one's like a 12K super combo. I couldn't really find a 10K super combo for this leader that was Tournament of Power legal, so this is what I was running. Also, 5 life super combo is nice, so chose to do that just so I can save that awakening turn. I ran Android 17 Rebel Reinforcements. It's a negate for 2. Sometimes if you don't have anything really good to do for turn, but you have a 1-drop in your drop area, obviously a red 1-drop. He's good to save your life. You could play out Kefla from the drop area if you had to combo her or something, or discard her. But if you play or counter with him, play her out from the drop, you could look at the top 7 for another 2 10Ks potentially, since she's not specifically requiring to be from hand, it's just when you play her. Or you could just play 10K from the drop. Obviously, there's other combos you can do it with. Android 17 can also work with the Jiren 1-drop that works with all the 10Ks being in your drop area. Um, I did initially run that, but I just didn't like it for the format we were doing, and I just couldn't find the right numbers, so I decided to go with this. Card I was thinking about opting out of, but I ended up playing it. It did put in some pressure. It's Feral Strike's Shosa, but sorry, I almost butchered that name. Um, I don't know. Like, I played it sometimes. It's just whenever I had it, I felt like I should do other plays, like for example, I'd play Mirage Maker Shansa, but play a 10k from the drop and gain critical on this card, so it could be a 20k crit, and you get another battle card for. So essentially, you're paying 1 energy for each card. But I don't know. I was kind of iffy on it. I didn't really generally play it as much. I played it maybe one time out of 3 games. I explained the super combo, why I'm running that to you guys. But Shansa was a lot of the work in the deck. Restanding all my 1-drops by tapping him, and you can only have one of them in play. And he has Barrier, which there isn't a lot of barrier removal, being restricted into a certain format, which is why I ran Kaioken, because it did get around Barrier. But Shansa chooses all your 1-drops and switches them to active mode when you switch him to rest mode. And that was insane. I probably got about 12 attacks in one turn just because I had my board established. I had so many 1-drops on board. I think I restood 6 1-drops, and they were all 20k-ish, maybe 15 to 25. I don't remember what their power was at the time. Um, but it was insane. That's generally your game-ending turn, is when you can attack with 6 1-drops. Obviously, if they have stuff that can KO it, your board, it gets a little bit harder. But in a format like this, you have a lot more flexibility, but you can totally transition this deck into a normal format. Obviously, there'd be a lot more cards you can cut out of the deck. Like I would cut Shosa, and I would probably cut Majora from the deck. Majora also plays 2 skillless energy, or 2 skillless battle cards with an energy cost of 1 from your drop or warp. It has deflect, so they can't answer it right away. Aside from in a normal format, if they're playing like Vegeta the Cruel, they could just kill it right away. So that card I would probably opt out of in a normal format, but in this format I did play it a couple times just to establish board. Came in handy. Wasn't my #1 play, but it definitely came in handy. Kaioken put in a lot of work. Board wipe, my leader's red, so he gets the activate main as well to get past barrier and neg it out. That was really good against Invoker. That was my answer to Invoker. Whenever they had Vegeta on board, I'd just do that for my hand, get rid of it, and then continue to beat them down since they won't have their Invoker up. They can't do anything like their counter plays for 1 energy, depending on the negate, because obviously they can have negates for 1 energy, but they can't use the Invoker to do like Sleepy Boy technique for 1 energy. Universe 6 combination Magetta. This is an old one. This is from Tournament of Power. This card, when you play it, you choose all your battle cards with an energy cost of 1, and they gain 10k power for the duration of the turn. Actually did get that play to go off twice in one game. The first one, I believe it got its skills negated. The second time I played it, it came in and actually pumped up all my guys by 10k. And yeah, that was the game-ending turn. He has Barrier too, so harder to answer. Barrier is a word that just screws everyone over. This card was the reason I mainly wanted to make the deck. I really like the Ultra Instinct Son Goku Monumental Presence. It's obviously for a 10k deck. And he checks for original power, so even if I use my Caulifla effect, pump him, and I decide, okay, maybe now's the time to play him. Maybe I didn't have him in my hand, but I took him from my life, and now all of them are 15ks, but it checks for original powers being 10k, so now I can play him for 2 red energy. And this card also counters or kills battle cards with 20k power or less and ignores barrier. Another card that countered Invoker. I was expecting a lot of Invoker decks in our little tournament that we held, and there were actually 2. So it didn't fully surprise me to see them, and I had answers. So I actually was able to win the tournament with this deck. So hopefully you guys enjoy this deck too if you want to attempt to run it or make adjustments into a normal format with it. I do think this deck actually has a lot of potential. Now, granted, yeah, sure, it may not be the #1 deck, but I will tell you this now, this deck was a lot of fun. I was not expecting it to be as fun as it was. This leader barely sees any play, but with this engine, I think you could actually see this type of engine with this leader running around just as like a random rogue deck. It can pick up wins for sure. It does have a lot of aggro to it. Our game ender was Gano's Bird of Prey. This card obviously isn't really that affected by many things. It has deflect, but the issue is obviously if they have something that could neg it to death or something like that, or just even negging it to like have it 5k power or 10k power or 20k power, it hurts it a lot, but it still can do work. With 12 10k vanillas in the deck, you can have a potential of up to 7 attacks. Obviously the first attack, and then you can continuously do it by removing. Is it removed from the game? Yeah, removing your 10ks from the game. Didn't get the play to go off very much because people always had an answer back or answer for it. Sleepy Boy I was always afraid of, so I never really got the chance to play him because Sleepy Boy would just put him back to hand, and then I couldn't even do his activate main, and I just wasted 5 energy. But I did want 3 in the deck because it was my biggest game ender, and it's a good card. It just has answers. But granted, if it goes off in that turn, you're gonna be most likely killing someone because you can have that many double strikes coming at them just by removing skillless from the drop area from the game, and then switch them to active mode. And he also has a negate on their turn, so if you somehow don't kill him, you got 2 negates because he can do his auto twice. Um, but the card was really handy. Just wasn't able to be putting in the work that I wanted it to do, just because people somehow always had an answer whenever I had it. The reason I was running Kotsukai, I know I explained it a little bit earlier. Kotsukai was mainly just because it was top legal, and I was afraid of cards like Topo and, well, the other Topo from the draft box, the green one as well. A couple other cards you can play during your opponent's turn. Obviously, some arrival. I think there's some arrival. I can't really remember on that. And then like counterplays, and I maybe like hit and something like that, or counterplays. I can't remember off the top of my head. I haven't really tried to remember it anymore since we got past that tournament. But Kotsukai basically punishes them for that and makes them choose 2 cards from the hand and warp them if they play a card with 20k power or less during my turn. Um, it came in handy. I did use it. It also cycled some stuff out of my hand, so that was nice. Basically, cycle up to 2 cards from your hand and place them at the bottom of the deck and draw that many cards that you put to the deck. And it came in handy. Honestly, you could probably take it out. There'd probably be better choices, but for what we were running, it was good for the deck. I couldn't really think of anything else to run for the event. But that's why I decided to run that. Just all these card choices were what I felt worked for me. Obviously, this won't work for everyone, but hopefully this gives people like a solid idea of what they could run with this deck. You could totally just not run Android 17. I just like this little combo here, the Caulifla and Android 17. But I hope people enjoy this little build that I put together. I definitely had a lot of fun with it. And if you guys have a version of this you want to show me, put it in the comments section below. I'd love to check it out. This was by far one of my favorite decks that I've run in a long time. Monocolor decks seem to be the way I generally like to run stuff. Usually I'm a mono blue player, but mono red is also fun to me because that's my second favorite color in the game. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts on the deck, your versions of the deck, and what other decks you may want to see. I can try to build a deck of it, or if I already have a build, I can share it with you guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you enjoyed.